Even children in the ghetto, even children with ghetto parents need to be protected. So I'm here before I go on to the next conversation, to the next part of this live. Now, I didn't go live this whole week because I was taking down my braids, and I was like, man, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'll go on Friday with my braids down. How rude is shrinkage? I ain't talking about that shrinkage. We can talk about that shrinkage, but I ain't talking about that kind. How rude is it? Like, I took my braids down, washed my hair and everything, and I'm like, oh, let me do a limb check. My hair is down my back, but with shrinkage, it's like this long. And I'm like, you know what? That's annoying. But anyway, so let's talk about this Lil Boosie conversation. But I don't even want to talk about him and his kid. But I want to talk because Cameron will get you. Cameron will get me why? Is he watching? So Lil Boosie, and I'm only going to set the conversation up, and then I'm going to say my opinion. Let me talk about it. It's so interesting how at almost 50 years old, maybe about a couple of years ago, because in my hair, yeah, I finally just embraced who I am in totality. I think that growing up, especially women of color, I'm sorry, but we do. We come with all these stereotypes that comes with our personalities. And because of our I might have to change the title because after this, I'm going to be preaching and then I'm going to leave. But our personalities sometimes are vilified in society, and then who we are becomes something that is seen as negative, right? And so, if you know me, yes, I'm very opinionated. I'm fair, I'm lovely, and everything else, but I'm very opinionated. And not only am I opinionated, depending on what it is that I'm talking about, I'm very passionate about it. And so, I think that sometimes we go through life and people may label you and say, oh my goodness, you this, you that. And then people, you may want to try to muzzle that or hide it. Well, I'm not doing that. Lil Boosie. So it was reported that Lil Boosie hired some exotic dancers to perform sexual favors on his minor son. Again, I'm not going to talk about the child. Barely going to talk about Boosie because I think the conversation should be taken further in why is that okay? Because I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say that something like that was the first time that I heard of something like that happening. I've heard of some men definitely making sure that they were a part of their son's first sexual experience, whether it was taking him to the strip club, whether it was setting him up with a stripper. Like, this is not shocking. It's not something that I agree with. It's not something that I think is acceptable. But why are we shocked? Are we shocked? Are y'all shocked about that? That he did that? Was that the first time that you ever heard of someone doing that? As gross as it is, I think it's gross. But the first question is, were you shocked? It is child molesting. That was my next part of the conversation. The first part of the conversation is, I'm not shocked, only because I think that there's a level of society that think that it's cute. It's, whatever. But to take the conversation further, it is absolutely child molestation. And I don't even see why he's still able to be walking around in the streets like that. I've seen videos where people have taken pictures of parties where they brought the strippers and stuff like that. No, not shocked at all. Like, it's toxic. It's not right. It's molestation. I agree 100%. And I think parents that do that should be brought up on charges, period. Parents that do that, right up there along with parents that provide anything else sexual. Like that kid, and I think I read, or because again, I didn't want to make this conversation about him specifically or his kid specifically, but I want to say he was 12. But I don't care if he was 17. If he was 16, it still is illegal. Period. And I don't even think that it's not cute. It's illegal. It's perverted. And it's the reason why I say it's perverted is when I say perverted, I'm talking about in the sense of it goes against what naturally should happen as far as exploring what should happen, naturally as far as exploring sexuality. Like my kids will be like 30 years old with children. Not 30, but because I got one almost 30 and he ain't thinking about no kid. But they'll be married with kids and I'll still be thinking, oh, how did they get those kids? They're non-sexualized. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm not gonna sit up there and introduce sex to my minor children. Because here's the thing, where's the outcry? Because if that was the opposite, if there was a man 20 some odd, 30, whatever. And they said she was grown. And I don't really care. I don't even care if it was a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old. It's still not right. Period. But if it was a man, stripper, coming to a quinceañera, we'd be livid. We'd be livid. And so I don't understand how, number one, this is okay. And no, there's no outcry for it. But also, I think that the culture, the music culture, this is what they breathe. This is what they talk about. This is it. That's their culture. It is what it is. And I'm just here to say it's not okay. It's not okay, and I'm not okay with it. I think that he should be brought up on charges. That kid's gonna need some counseling when he really grows up. Hopefully, he'll grow up to understand what is healthy. What is a healthy view of sexuality and having sex? Hopefully he'll get counseling. I'm just saying. But in the meantime, like I said, not cool. Not cool at all. And one of my favorite, it is a double standard. It's such a double standard. And if this were anybody else, and I almost feel like, oh, this point just came to my head. I almost feel like, and this is no shade to him, but everybody that I've ever seen in that situation doing something like that, they would be considered and they would be labeled as ghetto. And you know what I mean by that? I'm not going to insult you. They would be considered as ghetto. Like, if I did something like that, I don't think you guys perceive me as a ghetto person. So if I did something like that, it would be shocking. It would look like molestation. If I think that there's a lack of outcry, because it's almost like that's what it's expected of him to behave. And that's even wrong. Like, okay, no. Because here's the thing, even children in the ghetto, even children with ghetto parents need to be protected. It's just wrong. And what I was going to say is one of my favorite, Joanne, I know you follow him, Larry. Larry brought the conversation. I love the way Larry brought the conversation because he even brought in the conversation about Dwayne Wade. And he was like, he didn't compare them, but he was like, Dwayne Wade is also there's been outrage because of the way he's raising his son, who identifies as a female. Again, there's some people that feels that is absolutely wrong. But the difference for me is there's nothing illegal about what Dwayne Wade is doing. There's a thin line now. I feel like there's a thin line because you can go into exploitation, sexual exploitation. Dwayne Wade really needs to be careful as far as that's concerned. That's a whole other conversation. My education is talking, but there is a thin line there. But I don't think that Dwayne Wade is sexually exploiting his son. But when you're talking about what Boosie is doing versus Dwayne Wade, and you're talking about both of them have some sort of toxic parenting, to me, you can't compare the two. So I don't know. But that is what I'm saying. I feel like Boosie is ghetto, and they're just like, hey, Ida, did you hear about JCPenney's? I thought about you immediately. I said, Lord, I need to check on my auntie because, Lord, have mercy. I hope she be okay. But I don't think the two are the same, but they are kind of being dragged the same way. But Boosie should be ashamed of himself. And